Welcome to episode 23 of the Football Truth podcast. My name is Taylor Davidson, the founder of Football Entangled. I'm honored to be with the Panna King of the Middle East, Kassem from Beirut, Lebanon. Welcome, mate.
Thank you so much, bro.
Yeah,
It's an
yeah,
honor
yeah.
to have you, man.
Good to have you.
Taylor is an amazing friend, and he's, as you can tell, he's a big guy. He's amazing. He's amazing. So I'm really honored to be here.
Do my best, do my best.
Yeah, you are the best, bro.
But for everyone that doesn't, obviously, most of my audience is not in Lebanon, but for viewers outside of Lebanon, how would you introduce yourself?
Well, my real name is Kassem. Well, I'm 23 years old. I just turned 23 yesterday. Well, my nickname is Panna King, which is about a game called Panna. It's just like a street football where it's a 1v1 game. Just like to introduce Panna as well, so that people are just aware of what Panna means. Panna is just like a 1v1 game where the winner is decided based upon whoever passes the ball through the opponent's legs. Just like a 1v1 game with street skills and like freestyle skills. That's like part really of football, but just like not specifically football.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I'm a street footballer. I started street football like 6 years ago. I was a footballer, like a normal footballer. I played in the Lebanese division, like a normal player. Then I went to street football since 2020, actually 2021, and since then I'm just like going into more street football rather than real football and like 11 aside.
Yeah, so it's very funny. I mean, me and Kasim got in touch via Instagram, right? And Kasim has a huge page on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, posting very interesting and entertaining content around football. But obviously, his name is Panna King, and also one of my clients, like Sean Garnier, is also in the freestyling space, somewhat Panna, although he's not the Panna King. But for me, it's interesting because there's so many of these sports that branch off from football, and obviously, your love for the game came from normal football. And then it kind of developed as you matured into Panna. And I mean, even now, like me and Kasim play all the time, like 5v5. So you're still, playing football.
Well, I mean, like, let me tell you one thing. Like, I once heard someone saying a freestyler is a failed footballer. So, like, I mean, like football is a hard, like environment where like not all of the people go pro or like they work so hard and they don't go pro. So, like, most of the players, I'm not gonna say all of them, just like they take their shot and the playing professional. They might happen, might not happen, especially if you're someone who from like a third world country, like just like it would be hard to go pro. So yeah, it's like a branch of football, but like a different like yeah, I grew up as someone who wants to go pro. I grew up as someone who like dreams of playing at Old Trafford or like Anfield or something like that, as everyone has done it. I worked hard like to become a professional, but at some point I fell in love with a part of the game called Panna, and then like I took it from there. But yeah, I'm still playing like five-a-side, especially with Taylor. He's an amazing player, even in five-a-side.
Yeah, of course. But would you say any of your skills from Panna have transferred over that you've been able to use playing 5v5 and even some of the times that you play like full field?
I mean, yes, it helps like because you would have like a better ball control, like because playing Panna is all about footwork and stuff. So it definitely impacts your ball control and stuff. But it's not gonna change your game like in an insane way, but it's definitely gonna change it, like and I would say like not in a significant way, but like you would definitely see how much you are improved after playing Panna. But I mean like it also depends on many things like how much the game is serious, because if it's not that serious, you could use tricks and it scares more if like, but if you have a coach above your head saying don't do that, you don't have the guts to use them.
Well, that's one of the things that I talk about a lot is there's this idea of the natural, who is that Neymar character who he's so good the coach can't tell him what to do, because if you do that then you take away his strength. So I think there is like a lesson there for guys that are watching this. If you want to illustrate or to utilize your creativity, it has to work. Because then if you try something risky and you lose the ball, then you're going to pay for it probably on the bench. And so one of the things that you mentioned that's interesting also is I do find a lot of failed footballers. I mean, I wouldn't say entirely if you become like a street player or a Panna player that you're a failed footballer. Just there's always maybe like you just didn't really truly have the passion and the desire to like take that all the way. But the one experience I've had at least is where guys that go from full-sided grass football into beach football. Now, I always 100% called that a failed footballer because it's like you just weren't good enough, and no grass footballer actually, in my opinion, wants to go and play on the sand.
No way. Yeah, it's just like I've tried it. Like it's just like especially like beach football.
Yeah.
I don't really like it. I agree with you actually. Also, like just that's something. Like you're right. Like at some point, some people like like they're footballer. Like they like style. They like freestyle. They like to do some tricks. They're just not into playing games in front of stadium and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, I totally agree with you. But yeah, what you spoke about. Yeah, I agree. Totally agree.
Well, so now how did you actually like what was the spark that got you into Panna? And then from there, how did you start like this account on social media?
Like when I was young, so like I used to play in an academy, like just as any other player. But like most of my friends had more financial, freedom, whereas like their parents just like have more money. They used like to travel a lot, like go to tryouts in Europe and stuff. But I never had this freedom, I never had uh, this, like I couldn't travel with them. I
Mm,
just used to train with them here. When they travel, they travel alone. So like I just saw like in street football, it's just like a game for the poor where you can train without, without any restriction. You could just
yeah.
train whatever you want. And that's why I started playing Panna. No one in Lebanon was training Panna. One is playing was playing it. So I saw like a
Mm,
chance that because if I become the first one who plays it, I would like boom because like no one does it. So if you become the first guy who plays Panna in Lebanon, you would have all of the lights on you, like you would
yeah.
shed the lights on you. So I started doing that. Then like in 2018 I started doing Panna. And 2022, like I always wanted to start it my like my channel and stuff, but I never had like enough courage to do it, to be
Mm,
honest. Like
mm,
I was a shy guy, like a very shy, like someone who just like stays alone all the time.
mm,
So in 2022, I said like I should do it right now, man. Like if I just continue to stall, probably someone else is gonna do it.
mm.
So I went and I filmed a video without showing my face actually because I was so shy, Like I still
Yeah,
have these my videos on my account,
yeah, yeah.
and like this is how it started. I didn't show my face, and like with time, I just had more confidence. Video after video, just got more confidence,
Mm,
and I started showing my face. And like with time, the amount of confidence I got was just like insane. Like right now, I do like comedy videos with Panna,
yeah.
like challenges. I just like have enough confidence that I'm really. It feels strange how the same guy who has like this amount of confidence, like I do shows in front of thousands of people, but at
Mm.
some point I didn't have enough confidence just to post a video. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So like,
wow. But then, was there like one point in time that you noticed that like one or like two videos like took you from zero to like actually becoming like a serious personality?
I would say like it's an accumulative work, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But like normal videos, the one that you don't like put so much hard work on it, like when it goes viral, you don't feel it like this hype, you won't feel.
Yeah.
But like once you put like so much effort in a video and it goes viral, just like you have like a your brain's just like like you're evolving, you're
Mm.
improving video after video. So yeah, like lots of videos I have inside my mind that probably made me happier. Like when you're happier, you do more videos, you are more excited. You know what I mean? Like just
Mm.
pushes you to keep like going forward.
Mm, okay. And so like right now on social media, is there anything like different that you're working on? Any kind of like new approach, or have you kind of dialed in like what you think is best for your audience?
I mean, like the type of content.
Yeah, well, type of content, like the format, speaking to the camera, or more like a storyline, making jokes, being serious, giving education, or just being inspirational.
I mean, like what I do is just like basically like a mix of all of this,
Okay.
Like so, like with time, just found a flow to do videos. Like some of them are educational, but also the educational one, I just like have some, comedy inside of it, like just like some funny clips inside of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do sketches. Sometimes I do, like a real challenges between like a pro and a street footballer, or just like
Mm,
a girl and a guy like who's better, you know what I mean? So like I found the flow with time, but like how did I find the flow? Just like trial and error, like you just try over and over videos, you see what it works, and you just keep doing more of what it works. Because at the end of the day, they say views doesn't matter, but it does. Like if we post video and no one sees it, like it's like it's no one's seeing it, like no one
Yeah.
appreciating your work. I'm not gonna say like every video is gonna get 1 million, but at least it should have like a minimum of something, you know what I mean? So like I saw what was working and I'm doing more of it. And it doesn't mean that right now I'm getting a lot of views on every video I post, but just means like I'm trying like to make every video perform better
Of
while
course.
while like maintaining the quality.
Have you noticed like any kind of increase in Lebanon in popularity of Panna after like as you've gotten bigger and bigger?
Like I mean like in an insane way, like lots and lots of street footballers are playing Panna because of my content.
Cool.
Like I see like a lot of people sending me videos, like that we're doing this trick, we're doing that. So like a lot of players are playing it right now. And like this is what makes me happy, like you see you're influencing, even if you're influencing one person, just like makes you happy.
Yeah, and guys, on that note, like almost every time I'm with Kassem, like anywhere in Beirut, there are multiple kids that will that'll run down the street begging for autograph or a photo. Even sometimes while we're playing 5v5, a kid will run onto the court during the game and Kassem, 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 So like it's pretty cool what you're doing here in Lebanon and bringing popularity and also, I mean, not just popularity, but like it's a tangible like pathway that people see that oh you're from the same neighborhood as them, and you got to this point from just being unique and obviously putting it online in the right format and the right way to reach other people in the Middle East because most of his content is in Arabic, not in English, except our videos. But like even regardless, like if you don't know Arabic, like you can kind of tell what's going on in the videos just based off the body off the posture, the gestures, and all that stuff. But it's really interesting because I also draw a line to that in the same way where young kids in Brazil, they have this direct line to Neymar, to like Ronaldinho, these great players that came from the same neighborhoods. And so there's something like unquantifiable, something like it's an X factor where they have this belief that they can do it too. That if you don't have that, it's really hard to recreate. Like in America, what kind of role models in the football world? Like there's no legends that came from your neighborhood, your like county or your area. But in Brazil, in France, they literally have that, and it's. I think that's one of the like obvious but not talked about reasons of why they make so much talent because there's an ongoing cycle of like renewal where every generation sees a handful of guys from the age group above them actually become serious pros, and then it's cool because now we'll see guys right now that are in high school or younger, as they get older and they're being influenced by your content and by your position in Lebanon and the Middle East, we'll see what comes of that. Do you have any ideas about like what do you think will happen in the next 5 years or next 10 years with like players in Lebanon?
I mean, it's like this is a great like question I never thought about actually, but like you're right. Like if you measure like the results of my content in like 4 or 5 years, probably it's gonna be like a big like right now there is a lot of creators who started content because of what I do. A lot of players doing street football because of what I do. So like it's definitely like an influence we could sense. But like it also depends on how much my content is gonna evolve in the next 5 years as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure like it's gonna affect them in the positive way, but I'm not sure in what way it's gonna like affect them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like speaking about the Brazil, like this is so true. Like I learned this from Taylor, like how it comes natural. Like especially in Brazil, like you play like as Taylor, like probably if you like watched his videos, I'm sure you did. Like he always explains like if you play more like games in the streets or like go and play five aside, it's better than doing chondros, just like better than going and training by your own. Like you've always said that, and I've implemented this on myself as well. Like after I got to meet Taylor, actually.
Yeah, because there was a period of time where I believe I believe that you weren't playing that much football, and then you got back into it,
Yeah,
right?
I would say like before I meet Taylor for like 2 3 years, I was just training on my own and doing my stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But like after you understand like when you play, like I got to know this from Taylor. He told me about it. Like when you play, like you try more things. Just like you're learning something from someone when you're
Hmm.
playing with someone. You're just getting more experience when playing with someone. Just like 10 times more better than doing Condor. Just like a repetitive work. Blah 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 blah. I don't know how much this helps because you definitely know better than me, but I'm sure like playing a five-a-side game would be definitely better.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's impossible to put exact numbers on it, but usually my metaphor that I explain to guys is you could take 10 hours of playing 5v5 at a high intensity, and that's going to take you way farther than 100 hours by yourself on the court. But people like I think especially in the West, like in America, Canada, Australia, we're so influenced by like the no pain, no gain mentality, like the grinder mentality, that we just think, oh, if I just do 1,000 hours, then I'll definitely be pro. I'll definitely be elite, right? But like that's not how life works. Like you can flip hamburgers at McDonald's for 10,000 or even more hours. It will not make you a Michelin star chef. You have to actually have genius and be molded at an intensity, just like the best players were in Brazil on the streets. They were playing against the best kids in their neighborhood, and at the same time they're watching the Neymars and the Patos and the Robinhos performing at the highest level, being inspired every single day by guys from their own neighborhood doing what they want to do. And it's that melting pot that like literally helps the cream rise to the top. And like kind of to get more like scientific about it, there is like the mirror neurons, like how when you watch top level players move and play, like the same areas in your brain light up as if you were playing yourself. So that is like a unquantifiable like multiplier of progress, you could say. And on top of that, the emotional intensity of having fun, of the flow state, of enjoying yourself in a game environment where competition comes into play, that pushes you to do everything at a higher speed, skill level, and intensity, where it's almost impossible, and I would say is impossible to replicate on your own.
I mean, I totally agree, like for me, like most of the things you say, like I've tried it myself, for me it works. Just like fits my lifestyle as well. Like just say one thing about, like the 10,000 hours, like formula,
Yeah.
like when I was training, like when I was like probably 16, 17, I always like, like these motivational
Yeah.
speakers when they say 10,000 hours, like because I was so obsessed with it, I used to like, go to the pitch, train for an hour and just like do anything, just like to get more time there, like just to fill up these hours and
Yeah,
go
yeah.
to a
Just to
thousand hours.
check, check, check,
Check,
check.
like just
Yeah, yeah.
like a checklist. I used to like at like 30 minutes more, just like I don't know, doing a pass or like doing a cone drill, just like so that more time I'm doing there. But like it's just like funny, like how people like especially in YouTube, especially content creators inside like pro football world, probably I don't know if they are pro or not, like they just put so much like false things inside like people's head, like they saying you should train, I don't know, like 10,000 hours, just like go train, go train.
Well, because it's safe. It's very easy to say that, and the average person will go, "Oh yeah, yeah, that's right, that's right," just because it's like a big like bandwagon. But then I'm over here like like saying like that's bullshit. Like what? Like how does that make any sense? And it's because like it's comfortable to just follow like mass beliefs because it's safe. You don't have to actually think yourself. That's also one of my arguments against gym work in general. That in normal gym work, you aren't actually thinking. You're just lifting. And by thinking, like what I mean is like actually controlling different parts of your body and articulating athletic movement. Because the best movers in the game, they can just move better than you. Their knee, like their right knee and their left hip, just knows how to work together better than you. And that was built from years on the court, where they're like what I call problem solving on the fly, which is what you don't get during drills, because drills, the coach or the trainer tells you what to do. He lays out the path for you instead of your subconscious problem solving and learning. And that's what gets like the 10x improvement, in my opinion, and based on the research.
I mean, I can't like, I can't speak much about it because I'm not as experienced as you, but I would take your word for it. Like,
Well, I mean, like you can just kind of take that and go with it, and then see how that idea or that framework applies to your life, and see if it lines up with reality. Because usually I see the athletes, they don't like self-evaluate, like they don't analyze things, because they'll just trust the expert, but they don't actually, okay, I'm gonna apply this for 6 months and then actually see, did it really help me, or did I just get better anyways because I'm growing older, going from 14 to 18 years old. So of course you're getting bigger and taller and more athletic. It's not because you did a random gym program, you know?
yeah. I mean, like, and especially like the things you're speaking about, they're against the flow of everyone. Like you're saying about mass people who say like gym work.
Yeah.
You come and say like don't do gym work. I mean, it's like hard like to prove your point because everyone's just saying do gym work. You say don't do contras, everyone says do contras. Like it's how brave like it is from you like to come and like face these 10, 20 years of people saying, something that's not true to do. Like if you go to YouTube, I mean like I'm not gonna
Yeah.
specify people.
Every video, yeah.
Yeah, like every video, just do contras, go do gym work. It will help like you, I don't know, jump. It will help you sprint better. But like the first time I saw Taylor, like it was one of his videos. He was criticizing a YouTuber who I watched for years and tried his work for years. I don't know if you wanna mention him or not, but I mean like that was the first time I saw him. He was saying like these guys are bullshit, like don't do contras, don't do gym. Like the first time I saw him, I was like, what? Like I did this for like I don't know, like 10 years and it's not working. That's like when I first reached out to him and got to meet him more, and like he was staying in Lebanon, and like with time you just realize how these YouTubers just like like speaking about like things that they don't know fully. They're just like following what other people told them and just telling more people to do it.
Well, one of the things that a lot of footballers don't understand is that elite footballers, like right now, I guarantee you, Lamine Yamal was not going on YouTube saying, "How do I improve my first touch?" Because he's on the streets playing football, mate. He's not going on YouTube looking for advice, because he's good and he built it by himself. And when he was younger, definitely he got schooled by the older kids on the court, and then he got stronger by playing football. And he's lucky enough to have the let's say the inherent functionality in his body so that he could develop his coordination and his skill and his power and strength. Whereas many kids that like I talk about, their parents, like unknowingly sabotage the functionality of their bodies growing up because they wear shoes when they're babies, and when you're young like that, the foot is so it's so easily moldable because you're so young and you're growing so much that if you make a tweak, that tweak when you're young is going to have really long-term consequences or benefits. But it just depends on what happens. So if you mess up like what I call this, like your fascial tensegrity, like how well your body is integrated. If you mess that up from a young age, then that's why even if you play the same amount of hours as a Xavi or Iniesta or a Pedri or a Gavi, that's why they get better and you either plateau or you just get worse and get injured, which was my story. I had all these messed up things with old injuries from a young age, and I also followed all these YouTubers doing cone drills for hours. Like there was this one time where I like hurt my foot, I think, in high school, and I had this. In America, it was like one of those weeks where we're on vacation, right? And so I had this like magical idea where I would train for 4 hours in my garage every morning, even though I was injured. But I'll just go by myself in the garage and just put on the music and just hit the ball against the wall, and that'll solve everything. And of course, looking back, probably it's not the best idea. But in the moment, I was clear as day. I thought, yep, that's the answer. And it's just because the guys making those videos are again not Lamine Yamal. They're not, any of these like Saka or any Cole Palmer's not making videos for you guys on YouTube, right? And even if he did, he wouldn't be able to give you the right advice because he doesn't know himself. He's a natural. That's why great players don't make good coaches. And even funny enough, some of the best coaches right now, Jose Mourinho, Pep Guardiola. Well, okay, Jose Mourinho was not really didn't play top football.
Yeah.
Pep did, but he still wasn't like a elite
Player.
like a striker. He was a 6 like Busquets. So he saw the field and understood tactics and all that stuff. But even like Arsene Wenger for Arsenal, he was a very mid-tier pro player. But because of his understanding, his outlook, and his shortcomings, that became strengths as a coach. That allowed him to become a good coach. That's why good players don't make top coaches, because they those things came to them naturally, so they didn't have those obstacles or those challenges that teach them lessons that then in the future as a coach they can pass on to others. So that's why I became or I am brave, like you were saying, with the courage to speak against so much of the mainstream nonsense, is because I've been there, I've done it, I've breathed it in, I've breathed it out, I've done everything A to Z, and I just see past all the fluff of mainstream trainers and physios and doctors and the whole medical system. And I'm not afraid to just say and just call a cat, because no one else is, and no one is helping footballers across the world. And now I'm here in Lebanon and I'm working on building an academy, so I'm looking forward to building the next Mo Salah, but in Lebanon, because of course Lebanon's better than Egypt. But but I think that, and so kind of this is a good point to transition. What do you think about football in general in Lebanon, and what needs to happen for football in Lebanon, but also in the Middle East, to develop to a point where there's a more tangible pipeline, there's a more structured system that can pump out players year after year and dominate Europe? Because right now there are players, of course, from the Arab world in Europe playing top level football, but it seems more like it's random.
Yeah, so first of all, say about what I think about football in Lebanon. At one point, me and Taylor was doing a video about the difference between the Arab player and the European player, or the American player.
Yeah.
And Taylor came to me and said, what's the difference? Because there is no real difference between the Lebanese or the Arabic player or any other players compared to the European, because it just comes natural, and just he would train more and more. So I think in Lebanon we have good talents, there are a decent amount of talents in Lebanon, but it's just no one's here to look out for these talents. There is no good infrastructure, we don't have even natural grass to play on, which this is would be the least things you should have to probably improve as a country for playing football.
Yes.
I think there is a lot of talents, to be honest, in Lebanon, and more in the Middle East, yes, in Egypt, as you can tell, Mo Salah and Omar Marmoush, right now playing in Man City. So we have enough talents, but we don't have the good infrastructure. But in Lebanon, if you look at for the past 2-3 years, I'm not gonna say football is so evolving. It's just it's not going like that. It's just not skyrocketing, but it's improving. 3-4 years ago, the average salary of a normal footballer, which is this is an important aspect, as you can tell, because he should make good money so that he could become a good footballer. 3 years ago, it was around $600-700. For right now, it's we have more money inside the niche. People are some players are earning 2,000-3,000. Some of them are having 5, 6, 7K a month. I'm not gonna say it's so much money, but still it's improving a little bit. They should definitely earn more. I mean, in Lebanon, Of course, it also depends on how the country is gonna go. Like
Of
as you can tell,
course.
the economic situation would definitely affect how football is gonna go. But like me and Taylor's gonna like doing like building an academy which might like shape the football in Lebanon, like change the way football is going. Like especially with the right coaching, especially from you, like this might change like the entire, like football scene in Lebanon. This is only speaking about Lebanon, not speaking about
Yeah, yeah.
the rest of the Middle East.
Well, I mean, there's lots of money going into football, obviously, in Saudi Arabia and the UAE and Qatar and Kuwait. But like, do you think that football there is really sustainable, or do you think it'll actually develop, or you think it's just getting like kept alive by the large influx of money?
I mean, like if you look at it, it looks like the US. I mean, like the MLS has been like getting all of the
Yeah.
legends like when they're putting so much money into it. It's definitely like improving.
Mm.
Like if you look at it, it's definitely like Saudi Arabia and the UAE. It's definitely improving. It's going up. But I mean, it still needs more. Like it's
Mm.
it's it's gonna continue to go up. The Saudi League right now, it has like a lot of fans,
Yeah.
probably because of all the players.
Of
They come
course.
Cristiano Ronaldo, Neymar, and stuff. But I think it needs more, like it just needs more and more and more. It should be like even more important, like more intense than it is right now.
Hmm.
Like for me, like look at Egypt. Egypt is just sending more talents to Europe than probably the rest of all like the Middle Eastern countries. Like there are more Egypt.
I think the most
Yeah, the most.
because as far as I understand, most of the players that are good, that are top players from Algeria and Morocco,
Morocco. I was saying it. Yeah.
they're not developed in Morocco or Algeria. They're already because they're guys that are raised in Holland or France or something, right?
I mean, yeah. Like speaking about Morocco, like Morocco is like for me, is like the Brazil of the Arab world. Just like
Mm-hmm.
insane how many talents are over there. For me, Egypt, Brazil, and Algeria. If you look at them, they have the most skills. Hatem Ben Arfa and like Riyad
Mm.
Mahrez. You'll see their touch. As like we said like in this podcast many times, like Riyad Mahrez has been raised in the streets, or like
Yeah, yeah.
what do you call them? The Algerian guy who like the streets never forget. Like
Oh, Trapped.
Adel Tarab.
Wait,
Like he was.
he's Moroccan, right? I,
He's I
or
think Algerian he is.
okay, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure as well, but probably. But I mean, like these players, like they raised from the streets, like,
Mm.
and not neither Morocco nor Algeria nor Egypt is like in a wealthy country, like
Mm.
they didn't put so much money into him, but like
Mm.
he was raised because of talent, because
Yeah.
of being natural. But I mean, the way I look at it, like, what do you think? I mean, like looking at Saudi Arabia and looking at the UAE, like compared, like
Mm.
let's say to Egypt and Morocco, like.
I mean, like 10 years ago, there was a lot of money in China and like a little bit in Japan to bring like those kind of like really top level retired players over there to play. And like Iniesta was in Japan for a bit, and then I think he just I think he just finished, or like he's finishing up in Qatar, or
He was in Qatar. Him and Xavi like was before him, but I
yeah,
think he retired, didn't he?
yeah. But I think he's going like right into coaching.
Yeah,
I think,
I think
but
so.
my point is like you it's like short-term band-aid over a long-term issue because like they were doing that a bit in China where like Oscar left Chelsea like in his prime going to China to make loads of money which like for his family alhamdulillah but like it, what happens is like how do those nations build off having those guys in there because if they don't like build a system as a foundation and then you use those top level talents to inspire the younger generation and to kind of build buzz so that clubs can actually have a strong enough fan base to make money and be sustainable as a club and not be in the red every year. That's how it needs to go. But often what happens is the players come in for 1 or 2 seasons, they play a few games, they make a bunch of money and they leave. And the club and the country as a whole, like the league as a whole, has not really developed that much. So for me in Saudi, it's the same concept. I mean, like Ronaldo, pretty close to retirement. What what's going to happen when he finishes? Are all the other players going to go back to Europe? Are they going to stay? I'm sure like a few players will stay and a few will leave. But in reality, like, is the Saudi league, like, are the Saudi academies better than before? Are they are they developing better players? That question's up in the air. And I mean, and also from my perspective, I don't believe like Saudi or the UAE or Qatar have the footballing environment to develop top level players because the climate and the lack of like natural grass. I know obviously they they buy grass and they put it in, but like for example, in the USA, there's a reason why so many good athletes come from Southern California. It's because you have the year-round climate to play sports every single day outside. Whereas other parts of the world, playing outside is not possible parts of the year because the cold or because the heat. So that is a reality. If players, in Spain and France are playing all year round outside on the court versus a guy in Riyadh is only playing 6 months out of the year, over a longer time span, that creates a very different profile and quality of player.
Like a gap. There is a big gap.
A huge gap. And so that's why I think Lebanon has the potential because they're already making good basketball players.
Yep.
Like obviously there's not huge players. Obviously there aren't huge players from Lebanon in the NBA in America. Maybe like one day there will be. Well, I'm not sure actually.
But like we had like
really?
one or two players in the NBA
Oh,
actually.
cool. Okay.
Like not much, but like right now the MVP, like the best player in Asia is like he's a Lebanese.
Yeah.
So like the basketball in Lebanon is insane. Like best in the Arabs, and like we were so close from taking like the Asian Cup. Like we come second place because of Australia. But yeah, like the weather here, like as you can tell, like you could train 12 months. Like like it trains a little bit, but like. It's a good weather. It doesn't snow, like it doesn't, have an impact on your training. So it could be a good environment.
Yeah, so I think that's one of the key principles that other countries like Saudi Arabia can't buy. You can't buy the climate of Lebanon or Morocco or Spain or France, like basically like the Mediterranean climate. And of course, like the quality local healthy food is also like a factor for me as well. So I think Lebanon has great promise, but like you were saying, the infrastructure is not there, and that's one of the things that my ambition is to work on. And I think with the help of the right people like Kassem, it's definitely possible. And it's just a matter of like, can the country calm itself down and get things sorted out so that so that roads can be flat and all that stuff. But in general, I think all the viewers watching this episode from obviously not from Lebanon, there's tons of things to learn about the streets, about proper lifestyle and recovery that almost every footballer I talk to don't do. And so you have a large margin that you can take over other players if you just do the basics right. And then once you're ready, begin working with me in my program and get a custom training program to take your talent to the next level, which is the bottleneck for every footballer. That's why I always get so not frustrated, but now I just laugh. But like when players from India or players from Africa or any place, honestly, even America, they email me saying, "Oh, can you help me? Can you help me get a trial somewhere?" And then they say, "Oh," and then I ask them, "Okay, what team are you on now? And like where's your video?" And then they say, "Oh, I'm on some team that's like I've never heard of and is like multiple levels below the top team in their area." So I'm like, well, what do you expect? If you're not good enough to be the best player in your city or your county or your state or your country, then going to Spain is not going to fix that. Like changing your environment doesn't make you all of a sudden like a talented player. Like you have to fix your talent inside you, which is the real bottleneck that most footballers don't want to,
Like
look at.
yeah, like most people like would like blame their like failure on like they think like when they go to Europe, let's say like they Spain, I
Yeah,
think it's just like a like it's more easier to do trials over there. Or, like they would
it's harder
it's very like definitely harder,
because they're
like
better
the
there.
level is insane over there, and
Yeah.
they just think that Spain like would care more for footballers, they would develop more. But I mean, like as you can tell, like as you said, like if you're not the best inside your state, let's say, you can definitely go to Europe and just do tryouts. And like this comes to a point where you look at it and you see like how much companies are making money out of people because they want to go to Europe, do
Yeah,
tryouts, and just like we all know that they're not going to go anywhere. But these companies just like get them, do tryouts, and they go back to their
of
home.
course. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I would say like just as a thought experiment for any footballer watching this, if tomorrow I got you hooked up with the best agent in the world, do you really like that agent is not going to be able to make you good at football. He can put you in front of this like he could take you to Man City and Arsenal and Barcelona, but when you show up at the field and you're wearing your boots and you have the little jersey from Barcelona that they give you for the trial, are you going to instantly just become the guy,
yeah,
or you're just going to be the same old guy that the same old player of all the habits and trainings that you've accumulated over the last 16, 18 years of your life? You know, look in the mirror and I think you'll and I look in the mirror and I think you'll know the answer to that question. So, Kasim, anything else that you think we should cover?
uh, I would say like I will ask you like I think that I asked you multiple times, but like for the viewers to know,
Yeah,
like what would you give like the top three tips to people who want to go pro, but probably they're not like in the best environment or like the best country. Like what would be your biggest tip, like three tips?
well, I think a player that's not in the best country, that's probably like your strength because it'll be easier for you to get on your national team because there's less people to compete with. Because if you're in the USA or you're in France or Spain, to get on your national team or to get on your local, like the best team is harder because there's more people to compete with. So don't don't put a knife in your dreams because there's challenges in life. I mean, those are the things that make you stronger, make you better, make you more adaptable because you are forced to overcome. That's why like I call this life is a five-star video game because we have all these different quests and missions and bosses that we have to overcome in order to level up, and that's the beauty of life. So that's number one is to embrace the journey, to embrace the challenge of becoming the best version of yourself and mastering yourself. That's a concept that in the past few months that I've been thinking about a lot is like if I want to get better results in my life, all I need to do is just master myself and take myself to the next level. It's not about like waiting or hoping for something external to do it for me. You know, it's not some agent or a coach or some outside thing that's going to just magically do it for you. It all comes back to you and yourself. Number two is pretty obvious. If you're not playing small-sided football all the time, you probably should be. And if you're not, ask yourself why. And if it's some excuse like, oh, there's no one in my town that, of course, there's someone in your town that plays football. Unless you live in a town of 10 people out in the middle of nowhere, which if you do, football is not for you, or you got to move. You know, that's life. Football exists in big cities because fans are there to watch games and it develops players. So that number two, play more football. Number three is take care of the fundamentals of your life, your like your sleep, your food, your lifestyle, what time you go to bed, what kind of people are in your life. Are you surrounded by people that help you achieve things, or are you around people that drag you away from your objectives, from your goals, and start placing all those chess pieces in the right spot so that you can be the best version of yourself? Because if you're like either consciously or unconsciously sabotaging yourself by making it harder for yourself, by being around people that have negative influences or bad habits, like you're just ruining yourself. and you're causing your own problem, so it's your fault. So you should think about, okay, is what I'm doing right now, this minute, is that actually helping me get to where I want to go, or is it not? And if it's not, start thinking about making a change.
I mean, these are the best tips. So like I know them before, but I mean like if you go like anywhere, everyone's gonna ask you these questions.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, how about for you? What are the top three tips for someone that wants to either become like really good at Panna, or they want to build like their own, profile on social media and do something
I mean,
like
like
you?
speaking about like street football, like
Yeah,
becoming street football, like would be probably something near to what you said, like
yeah.
something similar to what you said, like probably having some good food, as you always say, like raw
Yeah,
honey,
sure.
raw meat, like all this,
Yeah,
like eating like good, like also playing more football actually, because street football is like part
yeah,
of five-a-side games. So like if it's street football, then definitely like the things you're saying, like play more, train more,
of
like
course, yeah.
would be the way to go. But I mean, like building on like social media would be definitely different. I mean, my tips would be uh like if you're like I mean, first of all, like find your niche, like
Yeah,
find what you're gonna do. Like if it's like I don't know, football, basketball, just like put a plan and like just do it. Don't like I mean, like for me, like don't ask anyone about his review of the video because like everyone's just gonna get like bad review. Don't
yeah,
do that, do that, do
yeah,
that. Just go like as you want, do the video and post it and just like learn from it. And my advice would be like Mr. Beast like once said that like don't judge your videos until like you post like probably 100 or like a 70 or 80 videos because
yeah.
every video you're just like improving and try like every video you do, try improving something from the previous video. Like just like don't stay where you're at. Like every video just like try to take something like higher and like with time after like I'm not gonna say like 100 videos because like this is a lot of videos,
Yeah.
probably like a 50 videos, 40 videos, you would come to a level where like your flow, you have a flow to do videos, whatever the niche is, street football, football, basketball, dancing, anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Like after 40, 50 videos you would know what will work, like how content is all about, what social media is all about, and like with time you just like understand social media more.
Yeah, every video you post, try and improve one thing. I think that's a really solid advice. Because same in football, people will play football for years and never improve because they don't self-analyze and look at videos of themselves playing, and they'll just go in a circle. And it's the same way, honestly, with some people that I've talked to that don't become clients, is because they're in a cycle of self-sabotage because they're going in circles doing the same thing over and over again, never committing to one specific, tangible, clear action plan. And they just never get anything done, and they create a litany of excuses to validate why they're not doing the thing they got to do to fix whatever they have going on. So, like, actually analyze yourself, find something and fix it, and then every time just make small little upgrades, step by step, and before you know it, you'll be a different version of yourself.
Yep. Yeah, that's the way to go.
Yeah. So I think that was a solid point to finish on. Kassem, thank you so much for the episode 23 of the Football Truth podcast.
Well, actually, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course, man.
You're
Thank
the
you.
best, man.
Habibi.
Habibi.
All right, guys. Cheers. See you soon.
Was it recording?